So, talking with Andy Cohen from Aaron Equipment in Chicago, I wanted to pick your brain a little bit about what you see going on right now in the world of the cannabis industry relative to values and the interest in the equipment. It seems that COVID might have changed some things, and we'd like to talk about what you see happening. What do you see going on right now?
So I would more say so that more so than COVID changed things, it didn't change things. It was not. There was no dip in business during COVID in either of these industries. They were deemed essential in the places where it's legal, including Chicago. So there was record sales for cannabis products, at least in my state of Illinois, during the COVID area. Mostly, what we've seen is a collapse of the hemp market. The hemp market, there was a lot of buildup when it became legal about a few years ago federally to grow hemp. A lot of people, it was called this quote unquote green rush. A lot of people just rushed to get into this business. They borrowed money to buy a lot of equipment. And then the price of the raw product dropped. The bottom fell on it. So they were spending and building companies based on projections of X amount of dollars per unit of products. It's pretty much CBD oil, but now are getting 5% of what they were. So a lot of these companies there's a huge stakeout in that area of the industry. That industry mostly uses carbon CO2 extraction because of the amount of product that needs to be ran through the extractor in order to achieve the same amount of oil as you would for THC. But there's been a flooding of the market, so much of that.
So you're getting a lot of inventory coming in, but it's CBD centric. It's not THC centric. Would that be an accurate statement?
That's not necessarily true. We're getting both, but there has been a lot of CBD focused stuff. More so. I wouldn't say it's completely slanted, but I'd say like 60-40.
Interesting. Do you think that was a flash in the pan, that whole CBD? I mean, they were literally selling it everywhere. I mean, you
yeah. The problem with that industry is so far there hasn't been any FDA regulations against it, concerning potency and other such, checks and balances. So they were finding a lot that these products that promised, X amount of milligrams of CBD per drink, they found out that this one had 3, this one had 7, this one had 10. This is just one company I'm thinking of. Some companies found out that the cans that they were storing their product in, they made like a CBD water. The lining of the can was actually neutralizing the effect of the CBD molecules.
Nice.
That's something that they yeah, exactly. They figured out A/B testing. Yeah. So, I would say there's that. There's a consolidation into the real players right now, and it's still happening, and will continue to.
And that's a real time statement. I mean, there's stuff. I know our companies are working on a couple of different projects right now that's in that space. Yes. And there's a flurry of equipment that's moving around, and it's moving, from your perception, it's moving from the undercapitalized or the smaller players into the big players' hands.
I would say it's still in that transition. There's the smaller players that still have this equipment that want to recoup their investment and haven't yet realized that they're not going to get the number they're asking for. That's really where the market is right now for a lot of that stuff. There are some realistic people, but there are a lot of people who, they may have made unfortunate financial decisions to begin with, buying from during the green rush when they making investments and getting loans on the equipment during a time when they thought they'd be able to pay it off no problem based on their the value of their raw product. But since that's fallen off, they're already a little bit cagey to let go of anything for less than they think it's worth because they're already a little bit hamstrung financially.
Yeah.
That was the case, but
relative to a secured creditor's perspective, if you have a crystal ball, mine's broken. What do you see happening with price stability that that surrounds the hemp space right now and the equipment that's being used there? What are you seeing?
Well, as I mentioned before, there has been a lot of shakeouts. So there is a surplus of supply of this type of equipment in the market right now. A lot of people looking to sell the same type of equipment. So that has had a negative effect on the sales price in general across the board. I do think that it will come back, similar to the way biofuels work. When there's a Democratic administration, and there's usually tax levies or not tax levies, tax incentives for alternate fuels. But as soon as a Republican administration comes in, those tax incentives disappear. And there's kind of like this wave of the equipment. It gets bought, it gets sold, it gets bought, it gets sold. So I think that hemp is going to be like that. I don't think people need to fire sale their stuff. I think that they can hold on to it for longer if they can. And that's pretty much it. Yeah.
That's a really interesting comparison, the ethanol to the hemp equipment. And it's one that I hadn't thought of before. And that's the reason I've got you here, because you know more than I do.
Right.
Andy, appreciate your time. Thanks for being part of the segment.
No problem.